But if something's out there, we both, whatever. I'm not fighting over a Super Mario game. It's just not worth it. All right, a quick behind the scenes look here. A question I get all the time is, how do you do these bulk shipments here, these bulk shipping labels? How do you know what goes with what? So once we package them up, we write on them, what the thing is and how much it weighs, just to make sure everything's right. And then we plug all that information in to the bulk shipping page, and then we ship them all off. And then there's a manifest in order, and it shows the item, the picture of the item, and all we do is simply look at the name at the list down here. I don't want to show you names, but look at the name at the bottom of the list, and then see what it is that we're supposed to put it on. And then we find the name, put the sticker on it, and throw it in a big pile. It's really pretty darn easy, especially when two people are doing it. Right now, Blue Ridge Mama is upstairs. She helps me 95% of the time, but I told her I was going to take care of this one. So, anyway, that's how we do it. Just print them all off, and there's a list in order. I'd show you the list on the computer, but it's got everybody's names and addresses. So I don't really want to do that. But anyway, there you go. I had a question here, and I went to go do a couple things. I've been boxing stuff up back here, and I can't find the question now. So I think I replied to it, and it's not on my sheet here. So I don't have the person who asked it. But the question was, how do you decide what garage sales to go to on a Saturday? It's very stressful for this person. That was the basic gist of the question. One, if it's stressful, you're doing it wrong. Are you worried that you're not going to find that, $500 item? I don't worry about it anymore. The better picker you become, you're going to find things at sales. Assuming you are able to go to 20, 30 sales on a Saturday, or even 10 to 15. You're going to find stuff. You're just going to. So I don't stress out about it. I basically only plan. I mentioned this on John Cincinnati Picker's show not too long ago. I basically decide the first 3 yard sales, and then, I look at the other things, but I don't plan anything out. I just basically pick out what's the first one I'm going to go to, what's the second one, and what's the third one. And I do that by time that they start, or I'll do that by general area. I want to be in this area around this time, and that's usually how I do it. Sometimes I go completely the opposite direction of what I think other people will see. If I see this one great sale that has great pictures of items that are great resellers, I know that 90% of the resellers are headed over there. So I find the second or third best garage sales, and I head there because I know I'm going to have the pick of the litter for 20, 30 minutes before anybody else gets there. So I don't stress out about it. It's therapy for me to go out to garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, whatever. And if it's stressful, you're doing it wrong. So have fun and just play it by ear. And the better you get, you'll come home with stuff. You might miss that one thing, but you know what? You're never going to know what you missed because somebody else got it before you ever saw it. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Thanks. I have a question from Irene, and this is the kind of question I like because it might make me money. Anyway, Irene says, this is very kind of you, by the way, Irene. She says, Kevin, I have a question. If I go to your affiliate links on Amazon, does it matter if I buy any item at all, or do I have to buy the item that you're linked to? If you go through the link, you could buy a brand new car, and I would get a little bit of money for it. So I'd get a percentage in it, and it varies. So it's, to be honest with you, it's not a lot of money, but so many people have been doing it. It's enough to take my family out to dinner every once in a while. It's amazing, and it's very kind. So thank you for asking that question. I appreciate it, and thank you for thinking about doing that for us. I really do appreciate it. Thanks. I have a question from Javi, J-A-V-I. I think I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, my apologies. Just a question for someone not really into vintage clothing or knowledgeable on it. When you say single versus double stitched, what are you looking for at the bottom of a shirt? So it's actually pretty darn simple. Now I picked one with white thread and purple so you can really see it. There's 2 lines of stitching right there. You can see the 2 lines going through it. And that's an earmark of a more modern shirt. Some old ones have double stitching in it. They're, it just depends on the quality of the maker, I suppose. This one's black, so it's really, really hard to tell. Maybe you can tell on this side. But even on this side, you can see there's just one line, and you'll see one line of stitching that goes through it. That's what I'm talking about. It's also something good to put in your title, single stitch versus double stitch, because some people just collect vintage t-shirts, and their search is, you know, single stitch. And so they'll find it that way. So hopefully it answers your question. Looks like a few other folks. Russell answered the question. And so anyway, thanks so much, and we appreciate it. I have a question from, I don't really know how to pronounce this, so I apologize. Fexris? That's the best I can do. How do you determine what is a fair selling price for your items on eBay? This one's pretty easy. Well, I don't know about fair, because fair is what somebody's going to pay for. If it's not fair, then somebody's not going to pay for it, right? If they agree to pay for it, then I suppose it's fair because two people agree on it, assuming that the item is in good shape. So, basically, all you do, I'm assuming you are a new reseller or haven't resold at all. You go to eBay and you type in the item, and then you filter out to completed listings, sold listings, and see what things are selling for, and make sure you're doing something comparable condition-wise, and see what they're going for, and try to price it right around that, and try to put good keywords in your titles. Try to have a decent description, although to be honest with you, I don't most of the time. I take a lot of good pictures, I try to anyways, and let that speak for itself. I try to, and then I put, you know, I'll answer questions from time to time too. So completed listings, sold listings, that's where you figure out your price. Question from Bam, he says, how do I combine shipping on eBay? Do I just take the tracking number from one item that you sold and then put it on the other items that the same person bought? So the answer is yes, that's what you do. And I don't even do that. I go on there and I just copy it and then I paste it in and remove the blank spots, and then USPS pops up. So that's how I do it, unless there's another way. If there's another way, let me know out there. But that's it. I just go to add tracking and I hit that. There is another way, actually. When I do bulk printing, when you do bulk printing at the top of the bulk printing page, if you do bulk printing, I do because it just takes way less time. Plus, there's one shipping total that I really like to take and put in my spreadsheet as opposed to typing them all in. In the top left-hand corner, they say, you know, these can be combined, and you click that, and it'll combine it on its own. So there you go. Hope that helps. Hey, question from Kentucky Cardboard. Card, K-A-R-D. Have you ever gotten into an argument or a spat with other buyers or customers at a yard sale? I got into I don't know, I call it an argument. This was on an old video. I think I might have cut it out because I didn't want to embarrass the gentleman. But I drove into a neighborhood and I pulled by this guy's house. He was doing something out in the yard, and I went up and parked. I didn't park on his yard or his lawn or anything like that. Went to the next sale. There was nobody. It's a dead neighborhood. It was late in the afternoon. Nothing was going on. There was nobody at the yard sale except for me. And I'm there for maybe 30 or 40 seconds looking at stuff, and I see this guy coming across the lawn, and he is yelling. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? He was yelling at me for driving too fast in the neighborhood. And I've driven too fast, but I wasn't driving too fast in that neighborhood, and there was nobody around. It was a cul-de-sac, for goodness sake. But at any rate, that, and he got heated. But at a yard sale, I don't remember ever getting in a fight with somebody. I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you, it's usually if there's an issue, I mean, unless something was clear, like something was in my hand and somebody's trying to rip it out, you know, that's kind of off limits. But if something's out there, we both, you know, whatever. I'm not fighting over a Super Mario game. It's just not worth it. I do remember, however, one time, and I think Blue Ridge Mama told me a similar story. I'll have to ask her about that. Maybe I'll put it on here later. I was doing retail arbitrage, and I was getting some inflatables. This is a couple years back, and they were on deep discount, like 90% off discount. And I had taken them and put them in my cart. And there's all kinds of them out there, but there's one particular kind, and I had taken them. And a lady came up behind me and was taking them out of my cart. And I looked at them like, ma'am, you know, those are in my cart, and you know, those are mine. And she's like, well, you have enough of them. I'm like, well, I suppose I do, but you can't take something out of my cart. And there were some on the shelves. I don't know if there was any of those on the shelves. I'm like, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask for those back. And she threw it back in my cart. I didn't throw it, but kind of just did that. And I'm like, wow. So that's as close as it's ever been. You know, I'm not going to fight somebody over something on the shelf, you know, whatever. You know, Black Friday, I used to go do that, you know, 15 years ago and camp out and do all that stuff. And I don't do that anymore. There's not as much money in it either. But I can't remember. That's a great question. So let me know out there your stories about fighting with somebody if you have. Hopefully there's not too many. Like I said, it just isn't worth it most of the time. I can't imagine. But so let me know.